Hello guys, this is my first video, and today I'm going to explain in detail the writing of Kiyotaka Ayanokoji, a character that I really like. Before starting, I would like to point out that I'm not English, and if you feel the audio a bit strange, it's because I used an AI to create the voice. Having said this, we can start. So, let's start talking about his name, Kiyotaka. In Japanese culture, kanji are characters that originate from Chinese writing, and the meaning of a name changes depending on the kanji characters chosen. His name is written with the following characters, which have an important symbolic value. The first indicates a person who is free from all impurities and weaknesses, with a calm and pacifist mind, able to control their impulses. The character instead symbolizes people with many values and honor, possessing a high social status. We can say that the name Kiyotaka is perfect for him. He lived in the white room. White is the purest color of all, free from shadows or impurities that led him to build his complex mentality, and at the same time will lead him to become the person who will lead Japan, and perhaps the world, in the future. Exploring the themes of this character, we will find Machiavellianism. It is a term that comes from the thought of Niccolò Machiavelli, an Italian Renaissance philosopher and writer. Machiavellianism refers to the idea that the end justifies the means, suggesting that a leader can use deception, manipulation, and force to obtain and maintain power. We can see Ayanokoji putting this mentality into action when he psychologically destroys Kei, Hirata, and Ichinose, or when he states that people are only objects for him. In the dialogue with his father, we can see how the death of the person who helped him escape from the White Room does not cause any emotion in him, precisely because his only interest is in himself and wanting to be free. Now we have understood how Kiyotaka thinks, or at least this is only the surface. Now I want to explain what for me is the most important theme for Kiyotaka, the identity crisis. Opening a small parenthesis, the famous psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud believed that behavior and personality arise from the constant and unique interaction of contrasting psychological forces that operate at three different levels of awareness: conscious and unconscious. The conscious mind contains all the thoughts, memories, feelings, and desires that we are aware of at any given moment. It is the aspect of our mental processing that we can think and talk about rationally, while the unconscious is a reservoir of feelings, thoughts, impulses, and memories that lie outside of our awareness. It contains what is deemed unacceptable or unpleasant, such as feelings of pain, anxiety, or conflict. Now, returning to talk about Kiyotaka, we can see how his conscious mind enacts a Machiavellian behavior, almost leading him to have a God complex. Kiyotaka knows perfectly well that there is no one in the world better than him. Inside the White Room, he had become a god praised by the successive generations, someone unattainable, leading him to see all people as inferior to him. On the other hand, his subconscious is in constant emotional confusion. In his monologues, we often see how Kiyotaka never actually wanted all this. His dream is to be a normal person. When he transferred to the advanced nurturing high school, his idea was to find someone better than him, even if his conscious part knew that it was impossible. He wants to find a deeper meaning in life. He is convinced that all people have a value, and he wants to look for it. He also wants to find the answer to the question he asks us readers at the beginning of the series: are all humans the same? This leads him to an internal conflict, almost leading him to have a double personality, which, however, he cannot accept. An excellent example of this conflict can be found in his Hypocrisy. Kiyotaka states, in his subconscious, that he wants to change. He wants to abandon his old lifestyle and become a better person. However, his conscious mind leads him to do the opposite. He has no hesitation about putting into action his Machiavellian side learned in the White Room. When he begins the relationship with Kei, he states that he wants to try to love someone, that he is curious about this feeling. However, he is unable to do so. I think the author decided to show us this illustration to show the emotionless face of Kiyotaka, unable to change and escape from his past. We just understood Kiyotaka's internal conflicts, but I would also like to mention his external conflicts. As previously stated, his dream is to be free, far away from his father and his past. Unfortunately, reality is not always positive. In fact, his destiny is already sealed, as he himself states. Once he finishes school, he will no longer have any protection and will be forced to return to the White Room, probably to become a teacher and succeed his father, or he will enter politics. No matter what he does, his time in school is nothing but false freedom. No matter how much effort he makes or how long he runs away, destiny will catch up with him. And this is an interesting point because, if you think about it, it means that Kiyotaka is fighting a meaningless battle. All this just to satisfy his curiosity. All the days, the exams, the friendships made will disappear, leaving him alone again. We know that Kiyotaka was born in the White Room as a normal baby. We know that he cried and was desperate to receive love from someone. But soon things changed, and Kiyotaka decided to abandon his emotions, undergoing a process of dehumanization. His childhood in the White Room remained unchanged, forcing him to respect absurd rules and a ruthless lifestyle. That is, until Shiro decided to leave the White Room. But we'll talk about this later. In his years in the advanced nurturing high school, he started to change. We can see the first significant change when he smiles at Horikita, and hopefully he's starting to discover more about himself. The thing that makes Kiyotaka's development complicated is his past, as explained before, which led him to have trust issues and a chronic intention to always be in control of everything, trusting only in his own abilities. In the first volumes, we can see this behavior when he hides his abilities from his class and when he lies to Horikita. He believes that if anyone knew about his true abilities, his peaceful life in this school would end. In the first volumes, we can also see how he himself is aware of what he is doing, defining himself as a terrible human being, which will lead him to isolate himself and be unable to create genuine friendships. We've talked about his past several times, and I mentioned Shiro a little while ago, but who is he? He is introduced to us as one of the few characters able to resist Kiyotaka in the White Room, but later decides to abandon it in order to be free to explore the world. This resulted in Kiyotaka being the only student left inside the White Room, but this change made him wonder how he wanted to live. Did he want to stay inside the White Room, or did he want to escape? The answer is obvious, and we have confirmation of it through his monologue in this scene, where he admits that he was already planning to escape. Other than that, his growth hasn't been significant so far. He's currently trying to change by overcoming his mental barriers, and in his journey through school, he gradually discovers himself and the lives of normal people, giving us readers a great parallel, from human to inhuman, and from inhuman to human. There is definitely much more to talk about this character, but sadly, I have to stop for now. Lately, I don't have much time to edit, and I want to change the topics a bit. But anyway, I leave you on the screen all that are for me the themes of Kiyotaka. If you think he has more or want to discuss the comments, are always open. Now I would like to move from talking strictly about his character to his impact on the story and its dynamics. In this part, I will explain the most important dynamics of Kiyotaka. I will not mention the ones less important. For example, the dynamics with Nagumo, Manabu, Kei, or Ichinose. Because for me, they are not much important, and I find them quite basic compared to the most significant ones. So, let's get started. The first dynamic I want to talk about is the one with Koenji, the character who is the opposite of Kiyotaka. Koenji is the embodiment of the free spirit. He ignores the rules and does not respect the classic morality and ethics. Like Kiyotaka, he has an extraordinary intelligence and is hardly not noticed for his abilities, and both hide their true potential. Kiyotaka hides his abilities because he is forced and does not want to be noticed, while Koenji simply does not care about other people's opinions. At first glance, he may seem the exact opposite of Kiyotaka, but it is not really like that. In fact, they have one thing in common: destiny. Both, when they become adults, will have to succeed their parents, or in any case, they will have to do something already decided. The only difference is that Koenji had the freedom to choose what to do, while Kiyotaka did not. I think Koenji is what Kiyotaka would like to be. Personally, I think this dynamic could improve in the future. For now, it symbolizes the difference between false freedom and true freedom. And in the third year, we will see a clash between Kiyotaka and Koenji, and probably also his backstory, making their dynamic more complete now. The next dynamic I want to discuss is the one with Ryuuen. Ryuuen is presented to us as the exact opposite of Kiyotaka, when in reality they are similar. He grew up in a poor and lawless environment, where he had to fight to survive, and within the advanced nurturing high school, he used his leadership character to control the entire Class C. Ryuuen loves to show off, while Kiyotaka wants to stay in the shadows. Their similarity lies in their mentality. They both think they are superior to everyone, and their Machiavellian side shows it. The subtle difference is that Kiyotaka thinks with his conscious mind about this, while Ryuuen also with his unconscious mind, something that will change after their fight. Now, speaking of their battle, I have to admit that it was still one of the best of the whole series, and this precise moment in this illustration was amazing, one of the best peak moments of Kiyotaka. If you think about it, Ryuuen is considered unique in the whole school for his behavior: merciless, violent, and rebellious. And most people are afraid of him. When he was facing Kiyotaka, he still didn't know who was the mind that controlled Horikita in Class D, and he decided to put that plan into action because he wants to destroy both mentally and physically his opponents. The beauty of this illustration is that Kiyotaka beat Ryuuen with his own method: violence, what he believed in the most. Once their fight was over, Ryuuen decides to leave the school, because according to his philosophy, the leader is absolute, and if he loses, it doesn't matter anymore. And if you think that this is a childish reasoning, you are right. This is because, as said before, Ryuuen also thought with his unconscious that he was the best. The defeat opened a new perspective on life for him. Kiyotaka wants him to stay in the school to see how his mentality evolves. We haven't seen much interaction between the two since their fight, but I hope they reach a conclusion together. Now let's start talking about her dynamic with Horikita, a character extremely similar to Kiyotaka. Horikita has difficulty expressing herself to people. She prefers to close herself off in her own world and has a constant need to excel in everything she does. Her life has been marked by her brother Manabu, who unwittingly pushed Horikita into becoming someone she isn't really. The beauty of their dynamic is that their lives have been conditioned by someone else, and they both can't escape this fate. I think Kiyotaka decided to help Horikita in her progress, because he felt she was similar to him in some way. At the end of the first year, a change occurred that overturned this dynamic. Leaving Manabu's school made Horikita grow. She finally managed to find herself. She accepted her emotions, managing to change her destiny, something that for Kiyotaka is still impossible. In the second year, Kiyotaka noticed how Horikita was able to fight alone and slowly distances himself from her. Now, I would like to talk for a second about this moment that happened in the last volume. If you think about it, every time Kiyotaka was with a girl who had feelings for him, he is always shown face to face, while in this one he is shown from behind. This is my theory, but for me, these two illustrations are the opposite of each other. While with Kei, Kiyotaka is shown inexpressive because he was not clear about his feelings. With Horikita, he is shown from behind. I think the author wanted to show that moment to imply that Kiyotaka is undergoing a change. He is probably having an expression that not even he can accept, and this could be the turning point for the growth of his character. I hope that in the third year the situation will reverse. I would like to see Horikita helping Kiyotaka to improve, adding a great parallelism to their dynamic as a last dynamic. I will talk about the one with Arisu, obviously. I am sure that by the end of the series, the dynamic with Horikita will be better. But for now, I consider this one slightly superior. Arisu is introduced to us as a natural genius. According to her philosophy, people are chosen from birth, whether they will be geniuses or not. When she went to visit the White Room, she was surprised to see Kiyotaka, and from that moment, she dreams of defeating him. Their main difference is their disability. Arisu has a physical disability, having difficulty moving, while Kiyotaka has a mental disability, having difficulty understanding himself. During their meeting, Arisu is aware that she is inferior to Kiyotaka. However, her curiosity pushes her to do inexplicable actions in order to face him. And yet, another thing they have in common, Kiyotaka is also driven by curiosity to do inexplicable actions. Unlike Ryuuen or Nagumo, Arisu is not surprised when he lost and did not change her mentality. Winning or losing was irrelevant to her. Her only interest was to fight against him. Now, I'm not clear on what's happening in the last volume. I didn't understand if Arisu will seriously leave school. But I hope not. I want to see more of their dynamic, and I hope it doesn't end in a banal way. We finally reached the end of this video. I hope I wasn't boring and I explained Kiyotaka's writing in the best way possible. This is a character that I love, and I decided to make this video hoping that people will stop talking about him as a classic protagonist without mercy, or that his writing is flat. The potential of this character is immense, and if there is a need, I will do more analysis in the future. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.